back to the end of another week. Oh my God, it's so cold. So this week I separated this sage hot lips thing. It was going kind of crazy up in here, so I have some things that I need to transplant somewhere else. But basically, I'm just keeping this thing, and I'll go ahead and throw a picture of what it looked like before. But yeah, it was pretty much, it was pushing out on this little planter. So over here, you can see it's actually starting to pull away from the wall, which isn't great. So I took some time to actually separate that. I gave one set of roots to his mom, and then I'm keeping the others for the chicken area. I finally gave up on the physalis, so I've gone ahead and cut it back, which is probably a good thing because we're expecting really cold temperatures. Well, for me, we're expecting really cold temperatures this week, which is like the low 20s, or over here it's like negative 4 or 5. These pots are cleaned and ready to go for my perennial root things. I didn't notice this, but like, yeah. Not sure what's happening there. That's kind of weird. Anyway. Yeah, there might actually be a hole there. So something happened there. Not sure exactly what though. Up in the garden area, we have contacted the compost people, so we are getting more compost. On Monday, I need to contact the mulch folks so that we can get some more mulch. And the neighbor, not that neighbor, but actually the neighbor who lives like down and around, like way over there somewhere, has horses, and he came by the other day and offered me a bunch of horse manure. So my hope is that I can put compost here, mulch here, like I usually do, and then hopefully we can kind of figure out how to put the compost, or I mean the horse manure somewhere over there. So we'll see what happens with that, but that's happening. I have all the willow that I ordered from Ireland, which is supposed to go up in there, which I haven't planted because it's been so freaking cold for me. You can see over here, if I zoom in, let's see. Whee! The chicken door is open because it's still sunny. So that's kind of cool. I'm still kind of testing that to make sure it's working properly. I did order and receive some jute ribbon. So we've gone ahead, well, I've gone ahead and wrapped all of my trees because, like I say, it's supposed to get cold. Like for us, -4 or -5, that's cold. That's my pump yelling at me. So over here you can see, yes, we definitely got some water this week. And I haven't moved those out, but I think I mentioned before, so we're going to put some asparagus over there, and I already have the perennial kale, which is going here. And I was going to plant it until I found out that we were having like crazy cold temperatures this next week. So I'm going to go ahead and wait until the cold temperatures have passed, and then I'll go ahead and plant my perennial kale out in the yard. We're still expecting, like beyond next week, we're still expecting cold temperatures, but nothing like next week. Next week is supposed to be very cold for our area. In the rest of the garden, it hasn't gotten cold enough to completely kill off my nasturtiums or my physalis. However, you can see over here, I have a lot of remnants of physalis because I started trimming this back. I wasn't really paying attention, and last year I kind of let these things do whatever they wanted to because I wasn't paying attention. But I actually watched a guy who has physalis up in the UK, and he was saying that you should let each branch like basically create 2 or 3 of these pods and then snip them off so that they stop continuing to grow, and that way the plant can focus on actually maturing these. So I know it's very, very late in the season, but I've gone ahead and trimmed all of this down, and I'm hoping before the frost that some of these things, I mean, like this one's almost ready. Some of these that are almost ready, I'm hoping will actually have time to mature in the next like 2 days. So that I'll kind of get a last bit of something. Actually, that one just fell off. So yeah, these are really cool. Like they're kind of these, like, I think they're also called Chinese lanterns. But yeah, they're like ground cherries or physalis, and they create these cool little pods that get all like papery, and then when they're ripe, you just pop out the fruit and you can eat that. For me, I think these are delicious. Yeah. They're really, really good. But Francis doesn't like them. I like them. So your mileage may vary. But these are all the things that I actually cut off from the tree, from the bush. And technically, I actually have some growing down in my experimental area. But like, a lot of these, like, these are growing stems, so I could potentially like plop these in the dirt, and theoretically they can grow new ones. But I have so much that I'm not even worried. You can see I went ahead and actually took off the little bottles that I had here because I think those are dead. Those were aubergines that I was trying to overwinter. This is also an aubergine that actually lost its cover, but I think technically it's still alive. And the ones in the house, I think might be doing okay, but I don't really know. I still have like the leeks and some cabbage, and actually under that mess of stuff, I have Brussels sprouts that may or may not develop. But I'm also thinking maybe over there, I'll go ahead and try some late plantings of broad beans, because Francis reminded me that I hadn't planted those yet. And part of why I hadn't planted those is because I was actually expecting all of my nasturtiums to go ahead and bite the dust way earlier than they have. So the fact that they're still here is kind of a problem. But I was going to plant beans kind of like in that area when these died, and then they never died. So we'll see what happens. Like I say, next week we're expecting -4-ish. But in leading up to that, I may as well go check out our thing and see. Yeah, so we got to -1.4. That's still pretty cold, but I'm going to go ahead and clear it, and we'll go ahead and start over because, like I say, it's supposed to get colder. Originally, they were saying like, oh, it's going to get to like -6 or -7, and now they're saying -3, -4. So we'll see what actually happens. But over there, I'll go ahead and zoom in real quick. You can see I have my physalis cuttings in that bin, and I also have some more physalis cuttings over in that bin. So that's kind of my experimental area down there. So I have some stuff going, and I might actually bring those into the house because physalis isn't supposed to like it when it's too cold. I did not wrap this guy. He is a fig, and figs kind of grow like weeds, so I'm hoping that that's not going to be the end of the world for him. But I did go ahead, and if I come up in here, I did go ahead and wrap all of the rest of the orchard with some jute ribbon, like several layers of jute ribbon. So hopefully they won't be too affected by the cold. And like I say, I'm hoping that the fig isn't super affected either, because I didn't actually wrap him just because he's a fig, and I ran out of wrapping. I did get around to completely weeding the strawberry patch, so I'll throw in some photos of what that looked like beforehand. But yeah, now it's been weeded. I put the straw, I put the it's technically a grass. I forget what it is, but I'll go ahead and post it when I find the name of what it is. But it's something that grows around here. It's a grass. It's basically like straw. So it's super absorbent, and it doesn't, like, it does hold onto moisture, but like in a very airy way, kind of like straw, except for it doesn't really mold like straw does. So I'm hoping that does good. And you can kind of see, like, I did this because the strawberries never actually died because it didn't really get cold enough. And then they actually started to create like new growth, and something like that is old bad growth. But yeah, like the new growth is coming in, and I kind of wanted to make sure that things were mulched as the new leaves came in. And then I'll use these frames to probably put on some sort of bug barrier or something, because last year not only were the snails eating all the strawberries, but I think like the mice were coming in, the birds were coming in, so we didn't really get a lot of the strawberries. So I'm hoping that this little frame here, if I just like throw something over it and kind of tack it in the corners here, that will help us actually get a harvest of strawberries this year, but we'll see. And I have my little passion fruit there that's doing okay for now, but as said earlier, like, we're expecting it to get a lot colder this week, so we'll kind of see how everything does. I am concerned about that passion fruit and my passion fruit up here, because he never really did good. And I put this little greenhouse type thing on him to try to give him a chance. But like, yeah, everything's been eating him, and I really don't know if he's gonna come back. We'll see. I bought the passion fruits from a place that has a like green thumb guarantee. So I did actually pay the extra money to get a guarantee on the plants that I ordered from this group. So if he does die, the website will go ahead and send me another one or reimburse me for him. So that's kind of cool, except for I feel sort of bad that I suck as a plant parent. But we'll see. So he is barely hanging in there. And the one over here is okay for now, but we'll kind of see how he does when we hit the like -5 temperatures, if it actually gets that low. And then this is just another bunch of shrapnel from the physalis here that I kind of cut down on this side as well. So beyond that, what are we looking forward to? I don't really know. I do plan on I do plan on pulling these forward so that I can plant my kale sometime at the end of next week after the freeze happens. So that's coming. The chicken coop, I need to put the roof which is just a tarp. I need to put the tarp on like this section, and that way I can test it with the wind to make sure that it doesn't like potentially rip up the whole thing. We did put these massive like hooks in. You can't even tell because Francis actually went and like really dug them in, but like down in here you can barely see, but down in here you can see the very, very tippy top of some like giant hooks that we put in on all the corners to really secure the cage down. And we also actually, if I zoom in, we also have them in there. So like basically at each of the corners we have these big, they're actually like they're hooks for tents to make sure that the tent stays secure in really, really bad weather. But we have them on all four corners of the big cage, and then we have them on all four corners of the small little coop. So I will go ahead and put the tarp on the roof, and then during our next big wind storm we can kind of see how that reacts with the rest of the space. Those plants that I dug up down there, I think my plan is to basically put one on each side here and just like put it in, throw some compost on, mulch it in, and hope for the best. So I think that's the plan. I'm hoping to do that before the freeze comes, because I'm worried that if they stay out and their roots are exposed to the really cold temperatures, they're going to die anyway. So that's probably a priority for me. And then I'm not going to walk all the way down there, but like, you know that there's the wisteria over by the carport, so I do need to trim that off. And yeah, I think over here the next plan is I'm going to go ahead and extend the mulch all the way along the wood thing to the compost area, because ultimately I want this to be a constant path between the house and the compost area. And like I say, I'm expecting to maybe put some horse manure piled here, and then get more compost and more mulch with the willow trees kind of along there. So we'll see what happens. It's not supposed to be raining, but like I say, it's supposed to be really cold, and I'm a wuss. And right now, even filming here, I'm like freezing my tush. So I think for me, that's it. I am starting to look more on Lebancoin for the chickens. So maybe eventually we're gonna get chickens. I'm kind of having some ideas there, but Francis and I still need to do the gate, the little pallet gate here, and then create another little fence line there. And then we do want to actually cover all of this with some bird mesh, because we do have the hawks, and the neighbors mentioned we have foxes. So that is all coming. And I think that is it for this week. So I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you next week. Bye.